So in the end, the results dictated and Potter had to go. It's a good job I didn't post the video that I had made earlier today, because I did a video saying my match review, which was a little bit late, but I didn't have time to edit it. And by the time I was going to edit it, the news broke that Potter had actually been sacked. And it's quite funny because in my video I said this guy is making it very hard for me to defend him because of the mistakes that he was been making. The fact that yesterday's match where he played two fullbacks as centre backs, and it made it so easy to play against us, with Aston Villa just playing that long ball down the middle, and we had two 6'3+ defenders on the bench, whereas they could have probably dealt with these situations a lot better than the personnel we had there as well. And the fact that he played Loftus-Cheek as a right wing back, he wasn't getting any crosses in, and we've got probably the best right wing back in the country, or if not the world, who was playing out of position. So it's things like that which I think he was, because of the fact that he was under pressure, doing things that under normal circumstances you probably wouldn't be doing. So ultimately he paid the price. And I kept saying, I was consistent with this, we are in a results business, and if the results ain't going our way, then we have to act. So there were managers, I think 13 managerial changes now in the Premier League, and his record was on par, if not worse, than every other manager who's been sacked. I do have a little bit of sympathy for the guy, as I said before, because of the fact that we had lots of injuries to deal with. He's got he's got a 30-man squad as well. 6 new players coming in the January window. Probably not 6, because obviously some of them are not coming straight away. So 4 players that he's had to try and integrate into the side. But he's made mistakes as well, and ultimately I think his methods or his ideology wasn't sinking into the players. And what we saw a lot of times was people playing, they weren't playing to his system, and we had people just being more individualistic rather than trying to implement any sort of game plan that Graham Potter had. Again, another thing which I think he should have done a bit better was to have at least one recognised striker on the bench. I know what's going on behind the scenes with Aubameyang, but Datro Fofana, at least have him on the bench. At least he's an out-and-out striker. Yesterday, he had Kante playing as the substitutions made us a lot weaker. Kante was playing as an attacker. Come on, and we were getting crosses into a 5'5" midfielder. Come on now, what's going on? And when the subs came on, I said everyone was kind of playing for themselves. They were doing their own thing. There was no system. But the warning I'm going to say for anyone, the new manager coming in, the mentality. We need somebody who's going to come and change the mentality of these players, because it's not just Potter. We've seen it under several managers. Even Thomas Tuchel mentioned it last season, and the season before last we had it with Frank Lampard. These guys, when they go behind, it's game over. When's the last time? I can't remember the last time we came back from 2 goals down. I think it's only once in the last 3 seasons, I think, we've come back from 2 goals down to actually draw a game. We haven't come back to actually win a game from a position of being 2 goals down. And that shows there's a mentality issue within the squad. So the new manager, not only has got to get us playing good football, he's got to get us get the players believing in themselves a bit more, instilling that mentality, making good substitutions. Because I'm not going to pit Potter against Tuchel, but even Tuchel's changes at times didn't affect the match, didn't change the match, didn't do anything to alter the outcome of the match. So we need somebody who's going to make quick, fast substitutions, be decisive, get the players on board straight away. The next appointment for me has got to be important. It can't be rushed. We want to get the right man in. I know a lot of people are saying Nagelsmann, a lot of people are saying Enrique, but I don't know. Only time will tell whether these guys are the right people for the job or not. My preference would be a return of Ancelotti. I know that he's leaving Real Madrid next season, but obviously I don't think that's going to happen. But if I did have a preference, that would be my preference, because he's somebody who's got experience. He's somebody he can talk to the players in the right way. He's a player who likes younger players. He's introduced younger players. We've seen that with Vinicius Junior and people like Tchouaméni, Camavinga at Real Madrid. So he can relate to younger players as well as the more experienced players, and he's been at Chelsea before. He's got some unfinished business. But as I said, I think they're going to go for somebody like an Nagelsmann, simply because of his relationship with Vivell at RB Leipzig. And what I'm hoping that this does now is to unite the fan base, because we've had a lot of division in the fan base. A lot of people who didn't want Tuchel to go, and they didn't buy into Potter. And I think because of that, Potter was under pressure from the beginning, because he didn't get a full buy-in of the fans. But what he could have done, he could have engaged himself with the fan base a bit more, because I feel that he didn't, even if he doesn't mean it, but the fans are quite gullible, because they've seen the way that the likes of Tuchel, the likes of Mourinho, the likes of what's his name, Conte, the way that they've embraced the fans, they've connected with the fans, and it helps them as well. That's what Jurgen Klopp did at Liverpool. The first thing they did was connect with the fans. That buys them a bit of time.
Graham Potter
Didn't connect with the fans. He was a bit distant. And so that relationship, similar to what Sarri was actually. Sarri didn't engage with the fans as well. And so that's something that the manager has to do. As I said, even if he doesn't really mean it, but you have to try and get the fans on board, because ultimately the fans are the ones, if you got them on side, if you got them working for you, then that can help you along the way. And apparently I'm hearing that the board, Bowley, Egbali, etc., they were taken aback, especially after the Southampton defeat, when we got beat 1-0, how the fans were reacting to
Graham Potter.
And so obviously we had a couple of good results in the last few games, but then the draw against Everton and the defeat yesterday proved too much, and they had to let him go. I'm not, as I said, I'm not attached to any manager, so I'm not crying over this decision. I'm just hoping that they've learned by this mistake. I'm not saying that Potter's a bad manager either. A lot of people were saying he's a bad manager, PE teacher, all that nonsense. This guy is a good manager. He's a decent manager, but probably not the right man for Chelsea, because his methods have always been, if you look at the clubs, if the guy we managed in Sweden, if you look at the Swansea, if you look at Brighton, he's a manager who needs at least 1 or 2 seasons to implement his style fully. And once the players are taken on board his style, then you're going to see the football that you've seen, that's what Brighton are producing at this moment. But a club like Chelsea, they want instant success. They can't wait 2-3 years. Even if we did wait a couple of years, he really had to be having us in or around the top 4. I think the fans would have accepted top 4 for a couple of seasons if they saw that progression, and if that progression was made to take us forward to the next step. But the fact is that in a business where you're there for results, when we're languishing mid-tables area, then a lot of people don't see that acceptable for a club like Chelsea. I can see him taking over at Leicester, who just sacked Brendan Rodgers, and he'll do well at Leicester, because Leicester can afford him that time, and there's not high expectations at Leicester, and he can build a team at Leicester and probably get them success in Europe at some point. But then ultimately this job proved a little bit too big for him, and so the next manager has to come in straight away, stamp his authority on the club, bring the fans back on board, and we'll see what happens. So What do you guys think of the situation? I know some of you are happy, you know, doing cartwheels at the moment, having parties or whatever. But who would you want as our next manager? And give me your reasons why in the comment section below. And so, guys, don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on post notifications to be notified every time I make a new video. So take care. Bye-bye.